Can you pause for a second and think back to the last time you saw real wealth? Not the flashy Instagram types, not the Birkin bag crowd posing by rented sports cars in hotel driveways. I mean the kind of money that sticks around for generations. The kind you'd walk right past and never notice because it's just steady and quiet. Honestly, it took me a while to figure this out. The people I know who are truly wealthy, the calm, unshakable kind, almost never look the part. They blend right in. You'd see them at the supermarket, pushing a regular cart, wearing jeans from last season, driving an old sedan, and living in houses that don't scream for attention. It's the kind of person your family might feel sorry for if they didn't have a peek at their bank account. Then you've got the opposite. We all know this type. They make good money, sometimes a lot. Their place looks like a Pinterest dream. Their car turns heads, and they always seem put together in that effortless, but not really effortless way. Every post is a vacation or a fancy dinner, some shot where their life looks easy, except they're exactly one unexpected expense or job loss away from panic. So here's the question I keep circling back to. Who are we actually trying to be? Who are we copying with our spending and style? Because if we're honest, most of us chase that second example, spending to impress. Meanwhile, the low-key crowd, the ones happy to blend in, they're the ones building something real while everyone else is busy showing off. Let's get into exactly how they do it, why the quiet wealth approach works, and what it's actually costing you not to see things this way. I think about this all the time. We're the most watched generation in history. Every time you buy something, there's a record. Every trip gets posted. Show off a new phone or outfit, and it's right there for everyone to see. Our whole money life is on display, whether we like it or not. And even if we don't want to admit it, that audience, friends, strangers, everyone, ends up influencing almost every choice we make. The car we drive, the place we live, the bag we carry, even where we go for brunch. It's all tangled up in what other people might think. That pressure just didn't hit our parents the same way. Meanwhile, the folks selling us stuff, oh, they get it. They always have. Now they're just even better at using it. The ads know who we are and exactly what we want before we do. Let this sink in. A recent Charles Schwab survey found that 44% of Americans openly admit spending more than they can afford because of social media. Almost half. And that's just the people who fess up. Realistically, the number's probably higher. We're bleeding money, not because we actually need more stuff, but because we want to be seen owning it. Somewhere along the way, we started believing that looking like we're doing well with money is the same as actually being okay. And that constant pressure isn't letting up anytime soon. No, it's not. And honestly, the rich figured this out ages ago. Let me walk you through it. There's this idea called stealth wealth. It completely shifted how I see money. Stealth wealth isn't some new fad or TikTok hype. It's actually how a big chunk of America's quietly wealthy operate. Researchers wrote books like The Millionaire Next Door, where Thomas Stanley and William Danko spent years picking apart the habits of real millionaires, not people pretending to be rich, but actual millionaires, and their findings are wild. The average American millionaire doesn't live in the fanciest neighborhood. They don't drive flashy cars, no designer clothes, no dinners at the places everyone associates with wealth. The truth is, the richest folks they studied blended right in with their middle-class neighbors. You'd never guess who had money by looking at them. And this isn't accidental. These aren't people who just forgot to upgrade after getting rich. This is intentional. It's a strategy. They know something most of us never learned. Every dollar spent on looking rich is a dollar you can't use to actually become rich. You have to choose appearance or real wealth. You can't have both. So let's get down to the real reasons. I don't just want to tell you that rich people live simply. I want to unpack exactly why. There are four main reasons the truly wealthy choose to keep a low profile, and each one gives you a practical lesson you can use yourself. Let's start with the opportunity cost. Honestly, this one's all about the numbers, so stick with me. Every expensive thing you buy just to look successful has two price tags. Everyone notices the first one, the sticker price, but it's the second price tag that really messes people up. Take a car, for example. In America, nothing signals wealth quite like a shiny new ride. Right now, the average new car payment is about $735 a month, according to Experian. That's the price you see. It's what you haggle over at the dealership. But here's the kicker. What if you invested that $735 instead of dropping it on a car? Throw it into a basic index fund, let it grow at an average 7% a year, and after 20 years, you'd have around $450,000. That's what that car really costs you, not just the monthly payment, but nearly $500,000 of future wealth you traded for a car that gets less valuable every single day. People who are genuinely wealthy get this. It's not just theory for them. It's baked into how they make decisions. When they see an expensive car, they don't focus on the car itself. They see what they're giving up in compound growth. That mindset, seeing that hidden second price tag, is one of the most powerful tools for building wealth, and anyone can start using it. It doesn't cost a thing. So, if you see a rich person cruising around in a regular car, it's not because they missed out or can't afford something flashier. They've done the math. They looked at the second price and decided $450,000 is worth more than impressing anyone at a stoplight. That's not being cheap, and it's definitely not poverty. That's long-term thinking, on a level most people never even consider. The second reason I call the target removal reason. This one's really about people, and honestly, it gets uncomfortable. But it's true and it matters. When you show off your wealth, you make yourself a target. Not always in some dramatic, someone's gonna mug you way, though. In some places, that's a real concern. I'm talking about the quieter kind that just slowly drains your wallet. You're the friend who can always cover dinner, the family member people turn to when they need a little financial help, the coworker everyone assumes doesn't need the next raise as much. Your lifestyle quietly sets this bar for other people's expectations, and social obligations cost money. It never stops. Wealthy people get this. If you look rich, folks want things from you. Not because they're out to get you. People just naturally adjust what they ask based on what they think you can give. The easiest way to cut down on those asks? Don't flaunt what you've got. I actually know someone who drives a genuinely beat-up car, dresses super simply, lives in a modest neighborhood. Honestly, you'd forget you ever saw her. But she has a net worth in the millions, all built over a couple decades of quiet investing. She flat out chooses not to look rich, partly because she doesn't care, but also because she watched a family member get slowly worn down by all the requests that come with putting your wealth on display. Endless family emergencies, loans that never come back, friends who expect you to pick up every check. Invitations that are really just cleverly disguised asks for money. Looking poor is protection. People who actually understand wealth lean into that. Now, the third reason I call the identity reason, and this one runs the deepest. The genuinely wealthy have a totally different relationship to money than poor or middle-class folks. Here's what it comes down to. They don't use their money to tell the world who they are. They already know who they are, apart from what they own, so they don't need to send signals. They don't need the right car, bag, apartment, or dinner reservation to prove their worth. It's already settled for them. This sounds simple. Trust me, it's not. From the time you're a kid, you get taught to tie your identity to your stuff. What sneakers you wear in middle school, which phone you have in high school, what you drive in your 20s, it all tells people where you belong. Stuff is a language, and unlearning it actually takes real work. Here's why this matters for your finances. When you no longer tie your identity to possessions, you're immune to the most expensive kind of marketing. You can skip right past the "if I buy this, people will see me this way" trap. The motivation to show off fades. Suddenly, it's just about buying what works for your life at the price you can afford with the money you really have. Wealthy people don't have to tell everyone how wealthy they are. They know already. The most financially secure people I've met, and I've met a lot, just seem unbothered. Not arrogant, not flashy, not worried if you care about their car. That quality isn't a personality trait. It's a choice you make over and over. It starts when you stop turning your financial life into a show for people who aren't helping you pay your bills. Fourth, there's what I call the accumulation speed reason. This is where everything really clicks together. When you stop spending money just to keep up appearances, the pace at which you build wealth takes off. For real. Let's look at two examples. Both people make $80,000 a year. Person A rents the nice apartment, drives the nice car, dresses the part, eats out, travels, basically lives the lifestyle that says, "I've made it." She saves and invests just 5% of her income, about $800 a month. After 20 years and average returns, she'll have around $440,000 invested by age 45. Person B also earns $80,000, but chooses differently. Drives a used car, rents a perfectly ordinary apartment, dresses simply, mostly cooks at home, ignores the "look successful" game. She invests 20% of her income minus $1,600 a month. 20 years later, she's looking at $880,000 invested. Same salary, same city, same time, almost double the money. Fast forward another 10 years to age 55. Person A's nest egg grows to about $1.2 million. Not bad at all. But person B now sits at $2.4 million, more than twice as much on the same income. That's the financial value of not performing wealth. Over $1 million difference if you just avoid trying to look rich for 30 years. This isn't just theory. The truly wealthy run this math in real life. They decide early that the opinions of people who barely know them aren't worth the extra $1 million, and they commit to living that out. Now, what do you actually do with all this? Because just hearing it and actually doing it are two very different things. Here's where I'd start. Try these 3 steps, and you can literally do them this week. First, go through your spending over the last month and look for purchases with social motivation. For every charge over $100, ask, would I still have bought this if no one else ever saw it? If your car lived forever in a garage, would you have splurged on the pricey one? Would you buy the super expensive bag if nobody ever saw it? Would your apartment still make sense if it was totally outside of anyone's view? Be honest. You're not committing to changing anything yet. Just count how many purchases are for your real needs and how many are for your audience. Most people are shocked by this number. Sometimes it's 40% or more of all their spending. Second, try building a little delay reflex for these performance buys. It's simple. Don't say no outright. Just say not yet. Wait 72 hours before buying anything that's mostly about how you look to others. Jot it in your phone. Come back in 3 days. Most of these urges vanish all by themselves. Turns out you wanted the feeling, not the thing. And if you take the money you didn't spend and put it into your investments, even once, you're doing 2 things. You're building real wealth and you're retraining your relationship with money. You're deciding what matters, not your social circle, not the internet, not anyone else. Third, find one person, someone you know or someone you know of, who is quietly wealthy. And really pay attention, not to their net worth, but to their attitude. How do they talk about money? How do they decide what to buy? What do they drive? Where do they live? What do they wear? Notice how they just don't seem to care what people think about their lifestyle. Notice the calm that comes with not living for an audience. Then ask yourself what it would feel like to have that kind of financial peace. That's the goal. Not just more money, but more peace. The kind that comes from knowing your numbers, from having a cushion under you, from not being one bad breakaway from disaster. That's actually what gets sacrificed when you spend just to appear successful. Not only your dollars, but your freedom. Look, there's one more thing. The pressure to look successful isn't some personal flaw. It's a whole system, a billion-dollar machine that's been conditioning you since you cared about what brands the cool kids wore. Performance spending and social comparison aren't some moral failure. They're totally normal responses to your environment. The wealthy folks who broke out of this cycle didn't just wake up better than anyone else. They figured out the real cost. Someone showed them the second number, the true price tag. The fact that the people they were trying to impress didn't care about their financial future. And once they saw that, they couldn't unsee it. That's all I really want this advice to do for you. Not to guilt trip you, not to make you feel dumb for liking nice things, just to help you see that second price tag. So going forward, you know what each spending choice actually costs you. Because here's what I've noticed again and again. The person who builds lasting wealth over the next 20 years rarely looks fancy while they're doing it. They look, honestly, pretty regular. They drive normal cars, live in perfectly ordinary places, wear clothes that fit but don't scream money. Sometimes people even wonder if they're doing all right. And they are spectacularly so. Your future self is counting on the choices you make today. Don't let her down. If this changed how you think about money, hit like and subscribe. And tell me in the comments, what's one thing you've bought just to look successful? I'll see you in the next one.